from the Houston perspective, Katie, this is a question of, were they going to wait? Were they going to decide, like, let's see another half season up through the trade deadline of how the Houston Rockets team, a young Houston Rockets team, would look, and then make a decision on trying to add a piece. But instead, they decided to add KD. Right now, they were the second overall seed in the Western Conference this season with a really young core. This accelerates their timeline, obviously. This is a big swing by them. They think that they're championship contenders right now, and they probably are.
Well, let's expand on that a little bit farther. I mean, they are just coming off their first 50-win season since 2020. They're well coached. They were the number 2 seed in the West before getting knocked off by the Warriors. But now they add Kevin Durant. What do they look like to you this next season?
Yeah, I love them. I was an early adopter of them 2 years ago. I thought that they were going to make the playoffs. They didn't. They just missed. And then this season, I thought they were going to make the playoffs. And boy, they not only did they make the playoffs, but again, they end up as the number 2 seed. Now they get bounced out in the first round by the Golden State Warriors. So again, I wanted to see, okay, would they maybe just like let this young core group grow a little bit? But instead they bring in KD. And yes, this absolutely accelerates their path and their hopes to win a championship, because what did they lack last season? They lacked a closer and a consistent scorer. Well, boom, all of a sudden you bring in Kevin Durant. He does that all day, every day. So that answers one problem. Plus, he's a great defender. Ime Udoka, his baseline is, if you don't play defense, you don't play for me. Well, Kevin Durant is excellent at both ends of the floor. So he's a little bit older, obviously a lot older actually, than most of their core group. But he's a veteran presence. He's an experienced player. He's won championships in the past. He's been on a bunch of winning teams. And now in a loaded Western Conference, you have to be looking at the Rockets as one of the main favorites next season to not only get out of the Western Conference, but to potentially win a championship.
Yeah, even look at that playoff series this year against the Warriors. Would the Warriors have beat them with Kevin Durant? I don't know. That begs the question there. Looking at the Suns team, obviously they're able to offload KD here. There's some rumors surrounding Bradley Beal. They're picking up Jalen Green. They're picking up Dillon Brooks and a slew of draft picks. What does the outlook look like for them?
Yeah, it's a little bit still under construction, right? Because I like Jalen Green. He's got a lot of upside, a lot of potential, but he's been super inconsistent. And I think the fit there with Devin Booker might be a little wonky because they're both gunners and neither of them is a traditional point guard. And I wonder how that's going to work. Dillon Brooks is a useful rotation player for sure. That number 10 pick, that's their pick. They get it back. There was some question about whether or not, if Houston and the Suns traded together, whether or not the Suns could get back some more of their future draft capital, because the Rockets also control their 2027 first round draft pick and their 2029 first round draft pick. But instead they get number 10 in this draft. Pretty good. And then those 5 seconds, it's a bushel of seconds. You hope to hit on one of those. I think that this signals what we already knew about the Phoenix Suns, which is that finally they've come to the realization that they are not contenders in a loaded Western Conference, that they're going to have to reboot this thing on the fly. You mentioned Bradley Beal. He still has that no trade clause. It's one of the most onerous contracts in the NBA. I wonder if they can somehow pay somebody to take him off their hands with some of these second round picks perhaps. But yeah, this is still under construction. Figure it out as they go along and try to build around Devin Booker as they move forward.
Crazy news on the day of a Game 7 for the NBA Finals. John Gonzalez.
About elite, we see them in OKC, right? Very young, but they had success. Just made some miscalculations on who was more valuable between James Harden and who they picked. When he went to Golden State, which was a well-oiled machine, he fit right in. No hiccups in the play style from anyone. He goes to Brooklyn, bottom-feeding team. It looked exactly like that. So when you're talking about where should an A-plus student go, he needs to be put in Miami that has structure, Spurs has structure, and right now it seems like Houston is going on the right path, but I don't think Houston is ready to win a championship with him. And I don't know if he's going to go somewhere where they can win a championship next year. So I'm just going to be selfish here, and I'm going to just say the Lakers.
There we go. You know the problem I have with KD's stint in Phoenix?
Tell me.
I think they have the wrong coaches. What I mean by that, when you look at Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Kevin freaking Durant, what all 3 of those guys have in common, they are great outside shooters, right? Neither one of those guys really need the ball. They could play without the ball. Why is Golden State so hard to guard? Because they have great shooting over there, and what are they doing? Player movement, ball movement. It's hard to keep up with Steph and follow him all around the court. And when they had Clay, it was hard to guard the guys. Get a lot of action going on. Well, you got three of the best shooters in this league besides Clay and Steph. Why don't you design an offense around three of these guys? You had a player like Nurkic who can pass, who can rebound, who can initiate your offense like a Jokic. Not to that level, but to catch the ball in a position to make pass while a lot of action is going on both sides of that court with great shooters. No one has come in to put that in place. Kevin Durant is 36, 37 years old, still trying to take guys. Right, but still taking guys off the dribble, making the game hard on him. Right. Whereas when you see him play in Golden State, the game was so simple.
Well, here's the deal. The game has never appeared as easy for him as it was for him in Golden State in terms of shots. Like, he does what he does, but it's in traffic. It's under duress. He just does what he does because he's KD. And so I'm looking at it, and I'm thinking about Matt Ashby and what you said, and I've let my feelings be known about the job that I thought he's done as an owner. But we're gonna leave it at that. But just reminding folks, Monty Williams was there. You got rid of him. You brought in Frank Vogel, who won a title for the LA, and you got rid of him after 1 year. You brought in Mike Budenholzer, who won a title. All right, and then you got rid of him after 1 year. I mean, damn. Now you got a situation where you got a guy in Bradley Beal that you can't get rid of because he has a no-trade clause. They would love to get rid of him, but they can't. And so KD, like Gil said, you have to get rid of him. KD fits anywhere. KD is an all-time great, okay? The brother is doing stuff in his 30s better than he was doing it in his 20s. I'm talking about field goal percentage shooting, three-point percentage shooting, same points per game average. The brother's elite. I think Houston.
It's perfect.
I love Houston for him.
Perfect.
I do, Gil.
Gil says they're not ready.
I love the Lakers too. I don't
tell you why.
But I love the Lakers for him too. But Houston with Ime Udoka,
yes,
with the parts around him, that you just do your job,
yes,
and you give that brother the number one option. If he was in OKC right now, it wouldn't even be a system.
That's what Houston's problem was in his playoff this year.
Huh?
They needed a bona fide scorer.
That's right.
Defensively, and everything else, they have.
Xin chào các bạn. Chào mừng các bạn đã quay trở lại kênh của mình. Ngày hôm nay mình sẽ hướng dẫn các bạn cách làm một tấm thiệp xinh xắn giống như thế này nhé. Bây giờ chúng ta cùng làm thôi. Hôm nay mình sẽ hướng dẫn mọi người cách làm một tấm thiệp đơn giản nhé. Nguyên liệu của mình cần có đó là bút chì, thước kẻ, kéo này, bút dạ đen. Mình sẽ dùng mình viết chữ lên tấm thiệp. Cái này thì các bạn nếu mà thích dùng màu khác thì các bạn dùng nhé, không vấn đề gì hết nhé. Ở đây mình dùng cái màu đen cơ bản thôi. Nói chung là chữ trên thiệp thì tùy ý, thích màu gì dùng màu đấy. Mọi người chuẩn bị cho mình keo dán nhé. Ở đây mình dùng là keo nến này. Về phần keo thì cũng có keo gì dùng keo đấy cho mình. Tại vì là mình dùng cái phần bìa màu này mình làm. Thì phần bìa màu này rất là dễ dán, mọi người dùng keo gì cũng được nhá. Ở đây mình sẽ chuẩn bị hai màu sắc bìa là màu vàng và màu đỏ. Đây. Thì đây là cái cách kết hợp màu của mình nhé. Các bạn có thể tham khảo và làm theo. Thì cái phần mà hướng dẫn này của mình nó sẽ là cái phần gợi ý. Nên là mọi người nói chung là nó mang cái tính chất tham khảo thôi. Thích thì làm theo hoặc không thì mọi người dùng những cái màu mọi người thích nhé. Rồi bây giờ mình sẽ bắt tay vào